When it comes to fitting your life's work, your kingdom calling, that thing that is on your heart that you really want to do for Jesus, when it comes to fitting it into your schedule, I just want to say that just because you currently don't have time does not mean that it's true that you don't have time. And I'm also going to say that just because you took the time to create the time does not mean it's going to work right off the bat. If you have the experience or the frustration that you don't have time, and even when you try to have time, you don't have any, then this is for you. Hi, I'm Amy Nicole, and these are my thoughts on the frustrating reality that so many of us face where we just do not have the time for the things in our life that we really want to be doing. And my hope is to help you little by little, one step at a time, figure out how can you create that time, and then how can you actively, successfully take that time consistently so that you can start to add in those things that are most important and simultaneously cut out the things that are least important in your life. All right, so I actually just recorded this, and who knows, it might cut down a whole bunch in production, but it was longer than I wanted it to be. I am trying to make this a little bit shorter. So I'm re-recording this, and I'm going to try to make this a little bit shorter. If you do like 30-minute videos, let me know. But also sometimes I just feel like a good 6-minute video that has a lot of impact is sometimes nicer. So, let me know if you do have an opinion. Otherwise, I'm going to just try to make this a shorter one, which can be a challenge because they tend to be longer because I start talking on and on about something. So we're going to try round 2. We're going to try not to do that so much. All right. So I recently made a video about the whole, just this belief that we have / reality that where our beliefs turn into our reality, where we don't have time. And that is incredibly frustrating if you have something that you're wanting to do for Jesus and you cannot, no matter what you have tried to do in the past, you cannot figure out how to take the time to do it. So I made that video, and because I made it and I was thinking about it, I was talking about it in the video, I started to realize in my own life how much I'm like, okay, I need to actually go back to the drawing board in my own life with this because something's still not quite compatible in my life. So my work right now looks like making YouTube videos to help Christians do their kingdom work. And my life right now looks like I'm a mom, I'm home, I have a 3-year-old and a 4-month-old, and that just sort of right now it feels like that kind of just sums up my life. Like it's my boys. That's what my life is looking like. And obviously there's a lot of other things, but my life right now does not make creating YouTube videos easy whatsoever. I have to be strategic and intentional. So this video is just me sharing with you what I did to create this, just so that you can see, I have been working on these. I've got things I want to do. How do I add this in? I've been working at this for years, and there's a million lessons along the way. And this is one of them. And one of them is that you have to go back to the drawing board time and time and time again, especially like right now I'm faced with my life changes very regularly and very consistently, and I'm in a very unpredictable way. So it's like what worked a month ago probably won't work a month from now. And then I'm going to go back to the drawing board and figure it out again then. So when, I don't know, let's say a month ago, I was looking at my schedule and I was figuring, okay, I can't remember if I had said, but basically I'm just going to share with you what my life has been looking like and how I've been looking at my life. I'm looking at my calling and I'm editing them to figure out how to make them compatible. And because it is possible, it's always possible. You just sometimes have to get creative. So my plan A was that, as I'm looking at my calling and my life, my plan A was, it seemed like the best time to do my, not not recording the videos at, during the day. My recording is in the evening, when the boys are in bed. But I got distracted. Oh, right. Okay. So, but my everything besides recording is going to happen at 9 a.m. in the morning. That's just sort of like, that's kind of when our we're awake, life gets going. And right now it just like 9 a.m. would be the most ideal time. So I was like, okay, I made that plan. I would have figured out whatever I needed to figure out, and it did not happen at all. Like, it was just, I every day I felt like I was trying so hard to make it happen. It was not working. And there's not really a specific reason as to why it wasn't working. It just wasn't happening. It wasn't, and even I guess, maybe there was a day or two where I would take that time to edit a video or to be focused, but it wasn't sitting well in our schedule. And so I was still like, okay, well, that didn't work. And in that moment, either I could say, um, I could say, well, okay, I'm just going to stick with it and keep trying and then go on with frustration. Or I could go back to the drawing board and figure it out again, which is what I decided to do. So my plan B was interesting. And I think that sometimes like your plan A, B, C, D, each time you do it, you're going to gain more understanding about who you are and how you work. And you're going to become more aware of your schedule, the people that are in your life, the different things that you are committed to. And you're also going to become aware of your life's work and what that looks like, and what kind of where the give and take is within the work that you are doing for Jesus, and how can you be creative with that too, so that these two things can fit together. Okay, so plan A did not work. Next, I created my plan B, of course. And this one was really interesting because with this one, I decided to, since the morning time wasn't working, I needed time. Okay, there's a lot of nuances to this because I decided to do my time in the afternoon, but I also realized, like, my plan A, I was expecting myself to kind of give an hour or two every day, like 5 days a week, sometimes even 6 days a week. And the more, since making the video a couple weeks ago about not having time, since making that, I realized like my schedule, I either like I can pretty much depend on, or like I know that for sure I'm going to have 2 or 3 days every week. So I need to get more efficient with what I'm doing and stop expecting myself to get work done every single day, because that is just creating chaos and frustration and stress. So my plan B was, I edited down my, like, the work that I'm doing. And I think sometimes part of the editing down is just that I'm just making my bubble smaller. It's not that I had to decrease my work, because not going to go down that bunny trail. We'll say that for another video. But anyway, I just shrunk it down to, okay, I'm going to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to get an hour or two of work done in those days in regards to my YouTube channel. So those are the pockets of time that I'm giving myself, and I have to just learn how to work within that time. The other thing was that I moved my morning time from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., which works really well in my boys' schedule. The problem with that is that at the afternoon, like once 1 p.m. hits, I am useless. I am not productive. I do not have energy. It is the worst time of the day for me. So I was really skeptical as I'm making this plan, because I'm also like, our family life kind of like, I could do my work in the evening, but that doesn't work with our family life because I'm not willing to lose that 3 days a week. So, I'm looking at all these different things, and I'm sharing how I do this with you so that it just kind of gets your wheels turning, where you can also look at the different things in your life. Like, how do you work? How does your family work? What what is your life's work, and how do you want to fit that in? So you're looking at all these different things and making very intentional choices with what you're going to give and what you're going to take with all these different things. So I'm at this point, I'm not wanting to give 3 evenings a week to this. So then if I'm not going to do the morning, I'm going to do the afternoon. But like I said, I'm just not productive during that time. Like, that is the laziest time of the day. So as I'm making this, I'm also like, I'm making this plan with the choice to say that I'm going to learn how to push through the sleepiness. And I've got to just work with whether I'm going to make a cup of coffee, I'm going to do something just to help me. Maybe I could take a 20-minute nap in the morning just to kind of help me get ahead of the sleepiness, or maybe it's just something I have to push through for a bit, and then I'm going to stop being sleepy, because sometimes sleepiness itself can be a habit. So I'm looking at these different things, and oddly enough, that has been way more successful. And part of that, I think, is because I went from feeling like I need to do like work for an hour to 6 days a week to I shrunk that down to only 3 days a week. So then I know, okay, this isn't an everyday thing. It's just like, I'm going to give 3 days. And if I end up being sleepy for those 3 days, that's okay. So then that's also part of it, that I'm willing to give up an afternoon nap or just chilling out on the deck or whatever, in order to get my work done, because it's super important for me to do this work. And that brings up a really important point with, or a question of, when do you push and when do you pivot? Like, when do you push through where you are stuck, or where you're, so my schedule, or okay, so plan A, I was going to do an hour or two a day at 9 a.m. and it just wasn't working. So at that point, I'm asking the question, like, is this something that am I just bad at this, and do I need to push through and develop a habit and not change the time? Or is it just simply not working and I need to pivot and like kind of just scrap the whole plan A and create a different plan, and let's try that. And if that doesn't work in a week from now, I'm going to stop and step back and think about it again, and then create a plan C. And I will keep on doing that as many times as I need to until it works, because every single time I learn more about myself, about my life, about what I want to do. And as I'm moving forward and figuring this out, little by little, things start to click into place. And sometimes for many of you, the work that is on your heart that you're wanting to do for Jesus is going to be that tedious, where it is not going to just all of a sudden happen. Because in order to do your work well, you are going to have to build habits, and you're going to have to step back and refigure out what you're going to do. You're going to go through really discouraging seasons, and then you're also going to go through really encouraging ones. And all of that is part of the puzzle. It's part of the picture, and it helps build your own personal muscle in this journey of doing your kingdom work. And so I've just, I'm sure after I make this video and hit that stop button, there's going to be things I wish I had included in with this, but I just pretty much wanted to share with you kind of the like, okay, I'm over here, I'm creating a plan A, thinking this is like, I thought it was a really good idea, did not work. I created a plan B. It is working way, way, way better. And because as I'm doing all of this too, I'm realizing how much I am, like, I think a huge realization from my plan A to my plan B, somewhere in that window, I realized how much I'm expecting myself to get to be like, how do you say that? Like, just productivity wise, I'm expecting myself to be like way up here, when I'm more like, I'm not like low productivity, but also in the context of having a family life and creating just like running a home and having kids and diapers and all that. It's like I've got to not like I still have high expectations and I'm going to, but I'm expecting myself to be just I'm not even quite sure how to say it, but I was expecting way too much out of my day. And so I'm lowering my expectations, but in a good way. So I'm giving myself smaller windows of time because that's what my schedule is allowing me. And so I'm pushing on my schedule, but I'm also editing my kingdom work to figure out how does that best fit in. And the end result I'm finding is higher quality work. So editing your work doesn't mean that you are losing quality. If anything, it just causes you to kind of knock out all the non-essential things that you don't need to be doing and only doing the most essential things. And then you can give more energy to those most important things, and then you produce higher quality stuff. So that was a bit of a bunny trail, but I just like this is kind of just how it works, is that if it doesn't work, you go back to the drawing board, you figure it out again, and just don't quit. Please don't quit, because your work is important. And I'm like, I want to see you do it. And so just keep on keeping on with it and play around with it, get creative, and especially ask the Holy Spirit for help. Ask him for wisdom, ask him to show you who he is and his hand in your life and in your kingdom work, and in like ask him to show, just to reveal to you your schedule and how you work and how I feel like I just repeated that, but just like he can show you how to make these things, your life and your kingdom work, compatible in a way where they support one another, because that is totally possible. That reminds me, look at me. I'm going to create another long video. We're at 19 minutes, but with some to be edited out. But I did just want to say, hey, it's me, Amy, here to interrupt myself to introduce to you the free Step of Faith 5-day mini course that'll take you from chaos to clarity, stuck to small stepping, and helpless to hopeful. Check it out in the description below. If you know what you want to do for Jesus, but despite your best efforts have not been able to make it happen, then this is for you. It's a simple course that is designed to help stop you from spinning your wheels and instead get traction and get moving in the right direction. It starts with the first small step and ends with a life well spent on Jesus. If you're ready to let me help you take that first small step of faith, then click the link below to sign up for free. Okay. We're going to make this longer. I wanted to say that my mom travels. So my parents, they both travel around the world and they don't have a home anymore. They do have a home. It's just all over the world, but they don't have a house in a specific place. So their life is constantly changing. And every few months they decide where they're going to go next and they go there. So that is my mom's life. On the other hand, the work that her calling is, she is a singer and songwriter, and so she has music. And right now, in this next stage in her life, she's wanting to be recording that music. And that, at first glance, those two things, recording music and traveling, those are not compatible whatsoever at first glance. And yet, what we found is that if we take the time to figure out how to make those work and to be intentional with, like, it doesn't work to record music at in every place that they go, but there's always something that she's able to do. And so she's able to, in one season in her life, like, in this window of time where maybe she's got 3 months in this one area, wherever they're living at that point in time, she can do work that prepares her for when she is here at our place and we are able to record. And then when she goes on to the next place, then she's pivoting and she's focusing on a different aspect of her work that then sets her up for the next season or wherever she is, or so it works. Is my whole point, is that if my mom can be recording her music and figuring that out when they are traveling, you can make whatever it is that you're wanting to do, you can figure out how to do it. You just have to start editing and get creative with your life and work at making those two things compatible and stop trying to, lower your expectations in a good way. And it's okay if you have less time to do certain things because it often, like, so for my mom, it works the best for her to record here, but they aren't here all the time. So it forces us to be more creative and more intentional when she is here. And then it produces higher quality work. So, all that to say is that whatever you're wanting to do, most likely will and can fit into your life. It just takes being intentional, going back to the drawing board and figuring it out as many times as you need to until it happens. All right, that's all for this video.